Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science channel. Tonight we'll be exploring the quiet beauty of winter, a season of stillness, of transformation, and gentle wonder. Above us, the world rests beneath blankets of snow. Around us, the air grows crisp and clear. Within us, there is a pull toward warmth, toward rest, toward the peaceful rhythm of shorter days and longer nights. Winter is a season that asks us to slow down, to turn inward, and to find comfort in the cold. If you enjoy these quiet explorations, I invite you to like and subscribe or share a simple thought down in the comments. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, all you need to do is rest, settle in, and allow the calm of winter to carry you. Let's begin. The nature of winter. Winter arrives when Earth tilts away from the sun. The changing seasons are not random, but follow a celestial pattern as old as our planet itself. Winter comes to the northern hemisphere when Earth's axis tilts away from the sun, leaving those lands to receive sunlight at a lower angle. The rays must pass through more atmosphere, spreading their warmth thinner across the landscape. Days grow shorter, nights stretch longer. The sun traces a lower arc across the sky, rising late and setting early. This tilt is gentle, only about 23.5 degrees, yet it is enough to transform the world. Without it, we would have no seasons at all, no spring blossoms, no autumn leaves, and no winter snow. The tilt is a cosmic gift, a wobble in our planet's spin that paints the year in 4 distinct chapters. As winter settles in, the world responds. Trees shed their leaves, animals seek shelter, and humans gather close to fires, finding warmth in community and comfort in stillness. The winter solstice marks the longest night of the year. Once each year, the night reaches its greatest length. This moment is called the winter solstice, and it occurs around December 21st in the northern hemisphere. On this day, the sun rises at its latest, climbs to its lowest point in the sky, and sets at its earliest. For those living in northern latitudes, the solstice brings a brief window of daylight, surrounded by long hours of darkness. Ancient peoples marked this turning point with festivals and ceremonies, recognizing it as the moment when light begins its slow return. The solstice is not just an astronomical event, but a promise. Though the coldest weeks still lie ahead, the solstice assures us that from this point forward, each day will grow incrementally longer. Light will return. Spring will follow. For now, though, winter holds us in its longest night, inviting us to embrace the darkness and find peace within it. Many cultures celebrated the solstice with light and fire. Throughout history, humans have gathered during the darkest days to kindle flames and share warmth. The winter solstice has been honored across cultures as a sacred threshold. Ancient Romans celebrated Saturnalia, a festival of feasting and gift-giving. Norse peoples lit bonfires during Yule, believing the flames would help the sun regain its strength. In China, the Dongzhi festival marked the return of longer days, with family gatherings and special foods. Stonehenge in England aligns with the solstice sunset, suggesting it held significance for Neolithic peoples thousands of years ago. These traditions recognized a profound truth, that darkness is not permanent and light always returns. Even today, many holiday celebrations echo these ancient observances. We string lights on trees, kindle candles, and gather with loved ones. These rituals connect us to countless generations who also waited through winter's darkness, trusting in the promise of returning light. Snow forms when water vapor freezes directly into ice crystals. Snowflakes begin their journey high in the atmosphere, where temperatures drop well below freezing. Water vapor, the invisible gaseous form of water, transforms directly into solid ice without becoming liquid first. This process is called deposition. Each snowflake starts as a tiny ice crystal forming around a particle of dust or pollen. As it falls, it gathers more water molecules, growing more complex with each moment. The shape it takes depends on temperature and humidity. Colder air produces simpler, more geometric crystals. Warmer air near freezing creates elaborate, branching designs. Every snowflake is different because each experiences slightly different conditions during its descent. Some tumble through warm pockets of air. Others glide through frigid stillness. By the time they reach the ground, they have become tiny frozen sculptures, each one unique, each one beautiful in its intricate simplicity. Each snowflake has a unique crystalline structure. The saying that no two snowflakes are alike is more than folklore. It reflects the staggering complexity of crystalline growth. A single snowflake contains billions of water, molecules arranged in hexagonal patterns. As the crystal forms, even tiny variations in temperature or humidity alter its structure. One branch may grow faster than another. A passing current of air may tumble the crystal, exposing different faces to moisture. These countless variables ensure that each snowflake develops its own distinctive form. Some appear as simple hexagonal plates. Others branch into elaborate stellar dendrites with 6 symmetrical arms. Still others form columns, needles, or irregular clusters. Under a microscope, their beauty is astonishing. Delicate and geometric, they look like nature's own artwork. Though they melt within moments of landing on warm skin, their brief existence showcases the endless creativity of physics and chemistry working together. Wilson Bentley photographed thousands of snowflakes in the late 1800s. A Vermont farmer named Wilson Bentley became fascinated with snowflakes as a teenager. In 1885, he successfully captured the first photograph of a single snow crystal using a bellows camera attached to a microscope. For the rest of his life, he photographed snowflakes, creating a collection of more than 5,000 images. His work revealed the intricate beauty of these frozen structures to people who had never seen them magnified. Bentley's photographs showed the world that snowflakes were not just white dots, but geometric marvels. He worked in bitter cold, often in an unheated shed, carefully transferring crystals onto glass slides before they melted. His dedication earned him the nickname Snowflake Bentley. His images remain iconic today, reproduced in books and holiday decorations. They remind us that beauty exists even in the smallest, most fleeting things, and that patience and curiosity can reveal wonders hidden in plain sight. Fresh snow can be up to 90% air. Snow appears solid, a white blanket covering the landscape. Yet it is surprisingly insubstantial. Freshly fallen snow can contain as much as 90% air trapped between the delicate ice crystals. This high air content gives snow its soft, fluffy texture and its excellent insulating properties. The air pockets slow the transfer of heat, which is why snow can protect plants and small animals beneath it from the harshest cold. It also explains why snow is so light when first fallen. A shovelful weighs almost nothing compared to the same volume of water or ice. As snow ages, the crystals settle and compress, squeezing out air and increasing density. What was once powder becomes packed, then eventually ice. But in its first moments on the ground, snow is more air than solid, a fragile lattice of frozen water, holding emptiness within. Snow absorbs sound, creating a hushed winter landscape. One of winter's most enchanting qualities is its silence. When snow blankets the ground, the world becomes quieter. This is not imagination but physics. The irregular surfaces of snowflakes and the air trapped between them absorb sound waves rather than reflecting them. Noise that would normally bounce and echo is instead dampened and muffled. Fresh snow is especially effective at this, creating an almost eerie stillness. Footsteps become softer, voices seem gentler, even the wind loses some of its harshness. This acoustic phenomenon transforms familiar landscapes into something almost dreamlike. A snowy forest or empty street feels removed from ordinary life, cocooned in quiet. For those who love winter, this silence is one of its greatest gifts. It invites introspection and calm. It softens the edges of a busy world. In the hush of new snow, there is space to breathe, to think, to simply be. The sound of snow crunching underfoot varies with temperature. Snow is not always silent. Walking on it produces distinctive sounds that change depending on how cold it is. Fresh snow in relatively warm temperatures compresses quietly with a soft, muffled crunch. But when temperatures drop well below freezing, the snow becomes drier and the ice crystals more brittle. Walking on it then produces a loud, squeaking crunch as the crystals fracture under pressure. This sound can be heard from a distance, sharp and clear in the cold air. The colder it gets, the louder and higher pitched the crunch becomes. At extremely low temperatures, the snow almost squeaks with each step. This auditory signal tells experienced winter dwellers just how cold it is without checking a thermometer. It is one of winter's small marvels, a way that the season speaks to us through sound as much as sight. Snowfall can bring a sense of timelessness and peace. There is something deeply calming about watching snow fall. The world slows down. Flakes drift lazily from the sky, each one following its own wandering path. There is no rush, no urgency, just the gentle accumulation of whiteness. Time seems to stretch and soften. The usual markers of the day fade away. Clocks matter less. Schedules blur. What remains is the tenace, present moment, the quiet beauty of snow descending. This phenomenon has a psychological effect. Studies suggest that watching gentle snowfall can reduce stress and promote feelings of tranquility. Perhaps it is the repetition, the countless flakes all falling in similar but unique ways. Perhaps it is the softness, the way snow transforms harsh edges into gentle curves. Or perhaps it is simply that snow reminds us to pause, to look out the window, and to appreciate the world being made new and clean before our eyes. Winter's transformations. Ice forms intricate patterns on windows and surfaces. On the coldest mornings, windows become canvases for nature's artistry. Water vapor in the air freezes directly onto cold glass, forming intricate patterns called frost. These designs can resemble feathers, ferns, or abstract swirls. The patterns form because ice crystals grow along the microscopic scratches and imperfections in the glass, branching outward in fractal-like designs. Each window's frost is unique, shaped by temperature, humidity, and the glass's surface texture. In the days before central heating, frost patterns were a common winter sight, something children would examine while wrapped in blankets. Today, they are rarer, but no less beautiful. To wake and find your window transformed into a gallery of frozen art is to witness winter's quiet creativity. The patterns last only until the sun warms the glass or the room's heat melts them away, returning the window to transparency and the frost to memory. Frost forms when water vapor freezes without becoming liquid. Frost is not frozen dew. Dew forms when water vapor condenses into liquid droplets that later freeze. Frost forms through the same process as snow, called deposition. where water vapor transforms directly into ice crystals. On clear, calm nights, surfaces cool rapidly, especially if they are exposed to the open sky. When the temperature drops below freezing, moisture in the air crystallizes directly onto grass, leaves, cars, and anything else that is cold enough. The result is a delicate coating of ice crystals that sparkles in the morning light. Frost can create landscapes of extraordinary beauty, transforming ordinary fields into glittering expanses. Each blade of grass becomes sheathed in ice. Each leaf edge is outlined in white. The world looks dusted with diamond powder. Frost is fragile, melting quickly when touched or warmed by the sun. But in its brief existence, it turns the everyday world into something magical. Hoarfrost creates delicate feathery structures on trees. A particular type of frost, called hoarfrost, forms under specific conditions when supercooled water droplets in fog freeze onto surfaces. Unlike regular frost, which creates thin coatings, hoarfrost builds up into elaborate structures. On trees and bushes, it grows as long, feathery needles of ice that extend outward from branches. A forest covered in hoarfrost looks like something from a fairy tale. Every branch is lined with white crystal feathers. Every twig becomes a sculpture. The effect is so pronounced that trees seem to have grown fur made of ice. Hoarfrost is most common in places with cold temperatures and high humidity, particularly near rivers or lakes where moisture is abundant. It is fragile, collapsing at the slightest touch, but when undisturbed, it can last for days. To walk through a hoarfrost forest is to enter a hushed, glittering world where every surface has been transformed into crystalline art. Icicles form from melting and refreezing cycles. Icicles hang from roof edges and tree branches, pointed sculptures of ice reaching downward. They form when snow on a roof melts, either from sun warmth or heat escaping from the building below. The water trickles down and over the cold edge, where it refreezes. Drop by drop, the icicle grows. Each drop adds another layer of ice before it can fall. This cycle continues, lengthening the icicle until it becomes a slender cone, sometimes reaching impressive lengths. Inside, icicles are made of concentric layers, like tree rings, each layer representing a new cycle of melting and freezing. They are beautiful, but also potentially dangerous. A large icicle can be surprisingly heavy, and when it falls, it can cause injury or damage. Yet there is something satisfying about their formation, the way water and cold collaborate to create these natural ornaments adorning the winter world. Ice thickness on lakes depends on temperature and time. When winter cold persists, lakes and ponds begin to freeze. Ice forms first at the surface, starting as thin, glassy sheets. As temperatures remain below freezing, the ice thickens downward, layer by layer. The rate depends on how cold it is and for how long. Mild winters produce thin ice that remains dangerous. Harsh winters create ice thick enough to support people, vehicles, and even buildings. In regions with long, cold winters, ice fishing and ice skating become possible once the ice reaches safe thickness, typically at least 4 inches for walking. Below the ice, the water remains liquid, insulated by the frozen layer above. Fish and aquatic life continue through winter in this cold but survivable environment. The ice acts as a protective barrier, moderating temperatures and allowing life to persist. In spring, as warmth returns, the ice thins and cracks, eventually breaking apart and melting, returning the lake to open water. Some lakes freeze with remarkable clarity. Not all ice is cloudy. Under the right conditions, lakes freeze into perfectly clear ice through which you can see the bottom. This happens when water freezes slowly without disturbance, allowing dissolved gases to escape and preventing bubbles from being trapped. The result is ice so transparent it looks like glass. Walking or skating on clear ice offers a surreal experience. You can see fish swimming below, aquatic plants swaying in slow currents, and rocks on the lake bed as if there were no barrier at all. It feels disorienting, like walking on invisible ground. Some lakes are famous for this phenomenon, attracting photographers and adventurers. The clarity does not last. Snow usually covers the ice, or it becomes cloudy with time. But in its brief window of transparency, clear ice offers a glimpse into a hidden world, a reminder that ice is simply frozen water, still connected to the living waters beneath. Black ice is nearly invisible on roads. Of all winter hazards, black ice is among the most dangerous. It forms when moisture on roads freezes into a thin, smooth layer that is almost invisible. Called black ice because it takes on the color of the road beneath it, this ice provides no visual warning. Drivers often do not realize it is there until their wheels lose traction. Black ice forms most often on bridges, overpasses, and shaded road sections where surfaces cool faster than surrounding areas. It can also develop from freezing rain, when snow melts during the day and refreezes at night. The slickness is extreme because the ice layer is so smooth and thin. Walking on it is equally treacherous. One step and your feet slide out from under you. Black ice is a reminder that winter's dangers are not always visible, that caution is necessary even when the ground appears dry. Freezing rain creates icy coatings on everything it touches. Freezing rain is one of winter's most beautiful and destructive phenomena. It occurs when rain falls through a layer of cold air near the ground, cooling the droplets below freezing without turning them to ice. When these supercool droplets hit surfaces, they freeze instantly, coating everything in a layer of clear ice. Trees become encased, power lines sag under the weight, grass blades become frozen sculptures. The world transforms into a crystal palace, glittering in sunlight. But the beauty comes with danger. Ice-laden branches snap, power lines fall, roads become skating rinks. A severe ice storm can paralyze entire regions, leaving communities without power for days or weeks. Yet even as we deal with the chaos, it is hard not to marvel at the transformation. For a brief time, the world is encased in glass, every surface shining, every tree branch gleaming, a winter wonderland that is both enchanting and dangerous. Frozen waterfalls become sculptures of ice. In winter, waterfalls slow, then freeze. The transformation is gradual. First, ice forms at the edges where spray freezes on cold rocks. Then the flow diminishes as cold slows the water. Eventually, the waterfall becomes a frozen cascade, a sculpture of ice hanging in the air where water once fell. Some frozen waterfalls are enormous, towering walls of ice that climbers scale with ice axes and crampons. Others are smaller, delicate curtains of icicles, forming intricate patterns. Behind the ice, water may still trickle, the sound muffled but present, or the freeze may be complete, the entire flow suspended, until spring. Frozen waterfalls are popular destinations for winter hikers and photographers. They offer a chance to see familiar landscapes transformed, the dynamic made static, motion turned to stillness. They remind us that winter does not destroy but transforms, taking the energy of flowing water and reshaping it into something entirely different, yet equally beautiful. Life in winter. Many animals hibernate through the coldest months. Winter's scarcity of food and harsh conditions make survival difficult for many animals. Some species solve this problem by hibernating. They retreat to dens, burrows, or hollow trees where they enter a state of deep sleep. their body temperature drops, their heart rate slows, their metabolism decreases dramatically. In this suspended state, they can survive for months without eating, living off fat reserves accumulated in autumn. Bears are the most famous hibernators, though their sleep is not as deep as some other species. Ground squirrels and chipmunks enter true hibernation, their body temperatures dropping close to freezing. Bats cluster together in caves, hanging motionless through winter. Hibernation is an elegant adaptation, a way to opt out of winter's challenges entirely. When spring arrives, these animals emerge, often thin and hungry, ready to resume their lives in a world reborn. Some animals remain active, adapted to thrive in cold. Not all animals hide from winter. Many have evolved to thrive in it. Arctic foxes grow thick white fur that insulates them and provides camouflage against snow. Caribou and reindeer have specialized hooves that prevent them from sinking into snow and help them dig through it to reach food. Snowshoe hares develop oversized feet that work like natural snowshoes, allowing them to bound across deep drifts. Even small creatures like shrews and voles remain active, tunneling beneath the snow in a hidden world called the subnivean zone. This space between the ground and the snowpack, warmer and more stable than the air above, providing shelter from wind and predators. These winter-active animals remind us that cold is not an enemy to all life, but simply another set of conditions to which life can adapt. Birds fluff their feathers to trap insulating air. Birds that remain through winter have remarkable strategies for staying warm. One of the simplest is also one of the most effective. They fluff their feathers. Feathers are excellent insulators, but their effectiveness increases when air is trapped between them. By fluffing up, birds create more air pockets, increasing insulation. This is why winter birds often appear round and plump. They are not fatter, just puffed up. On the coldest nights, birds may also tuck their heads under their wings and pull one leg up into their body feathers, minimizing heat loss. Some species huddle together in tree cavities or dense shrubs, sharing body heat. Others shiver continuously, generating warmth through muscle activity. Despite their small size, birds endure winter cold with remarkable resilience. Their survival depends on finding enough food to fuel their high metabolism, which is why bird feeders can be life-saving during harsh winter weather. Some birds migrate thousands of miles to escape winter. Rather than endure winter's cold and scarcity, many bird species migrate. They travel hundreds or thousands of miles to warmer regions where food remains abundant. Arctic terns make the longest journey of any animal, flying from Arctic to Antarctic and back each year, a round trip of over 40,000 miles. Geese fly in V formations to conserve energy, taking turns at the front where wind resistance is greatest. Songbirds travel at night, navigating by stars. Raptors ride thermal updrafts during the day. These migrations are ancient patterns, repeated generation after generation. The birds do not know why they go, only that they must. In spring, they return, guided by instinct and environmental cues, reversing their journeys to nest in the lands they left. Their arrivals and departures mark the changing seasons as reliably as any calendar. Deer grow thicker coats and slow their metabolism. Deer that remain in snowy regions through winter undergo several adaptations. Their summer coats are replaced by dense winter fur, with two layers, a soft undercoat for insulation and hollow guard hairs that trap additional air. This fur is so effective that snow can accumulate on a deer's back without melting, showing how little body heat escapes. Deer also change their behavior. They move less, conserving energy. They seek sheltered areas called deer yards, where dense conifer cover provides protection from wind and snow. Their metabolism slows, and they can survive on less food. Browsing on twigs, bark, and dried vegetation, they endure the lean months. In severe winters, deer may lose significant weight, but their adaptations usually see them through. When spring arrives and fresh growth turns, they recover quickly, a testament to the resilience built into their biology. Tracks in snow reveal the secret lives of animals. Fresh snow offers a window into the hidden world of wildlife. Every animal that moves leaves tracks, creating a record of its passage. Deer tracks show where herds traveled to feeding areas. Fox tracks meander as the animal hunts, with occasional patterns showing where it pounced on prey beneath the snow. Rabbit tracks appear in clusters, the hind feet landing ahead of the front feet in their hopping gait. Bird tracks mark where they landed to search for seeds. Even tiny mouse tracks stitch lines across open spaces, sometimes ending abruptly where an owl struck. For those who learn to read them, tracks tell stories: where animals went, what they did, how they interacted. Snow becomes a diary of the natural world, recording the dramas and routines that unfold unseen. After a fresh snowfall, the pages are blank, waiting to be written by the movement of countless creatures navigating the winter landscape. Foxes can hear rodents moving beneath the snow. Foxes possess extraordinary hearing, capable of detecting the high-pitched sounds of rodents scurrying in their tunnels beneath the snow. On winter hunts, a fox will pause, cock its head, and listen intently. Once it pinpoints the location, it leaps high into the air and dives down headfirst into the snow, breaking through to catch prey it never saw. This hunting technique, called mousing, is remarkably successful. The fox uses Earth's magnetic field as a guide, apparently aligning its jumps with magnetic north for the highest accuracy. Scientists have observed that foxes jumping in a northeasterly direction have much higher success rates than those jumping in other directions, though the reason remains not fully understood. Watching a fox hunt in snow is mesmerizing. The stillness, the sudden explosive leap, the disappearance into the drift, and often the emergence with a vole or mouse. It is a perfect example of adaptation, using keen senses and precise technique to thrive in winter's challenges. Owls hunt silently through snowy nights. Winter nights belong to owls. These raptors are supremely adapted for hunting in darkness. Their large eyes gather minimal light. Their hearing is so acute, they can locate prey by sound alone, even beneath snow. Most remarkably, their feathers are specially structured to muffle sound. The leading edges of their wings have comb-like serrations that break up turbulence. The feathers are soft and velvety, dampening the whoosh of air. The result is nearly silent flight. An owl can swoop down on prey without giving any warning. In winter, when snow covers the ground and bare trees offer little cover, this silent approach is essential. Owls hunt from perches, scanning the snow for movement, or they fly low over fields, listening for the rustle of rodents below. They are perfectly suited to winter, patient, silent, deadly efficient. To hear an owl call through a winter night is to be reminded that the season, though quiet, is far from empty. Evergreen trees remain green through winter's cold. While deciduous trees stand bare, evergreens retain their needles through winter. These trees, pines, spruces, firs, and others have evolved to keep their foliage year-round. Their needles are coated with a waxy cuticle that reduces water loss, a crucial adaptation since frozen ground makes water unavailable. The narrow shape of needles also minimizes surface area, reducing both water loss and snow accumulation. Needles contain antifreeze-like compounds that prevent ice crystals from forming inside cells. Though photosynthesis slows in winter cold, evergreens can still produce some energy on sunny days when deciduous trees cannot. This gives them an advantage in short growing seasons. Evergreens provide essential winter habitat for birds and animals, offering shelter from wind and snow. Their dark green presence in the white landscape is visually striking, a promise of life persisting through dormancy. When snow drapes over their branches, evergreens become living sculptures, their boughs bent but not broken by winter's weight. Some trees can survive temperatures far below zero. Trees in northern regions endure temperatures that would kill most living things. How do they survive? As winter approaches, trees withdraw water from their cells into spaces between cells. This prevents ice crystals from forming inside cells, where they would rupture membranes. The remaining sap becomes concentrated with sugars and other compounds that act as natural antifreeze, lowering the freezing point. The bark thickens and hardens, providing insulation. Inside, metabolic processes nearly cease. A dormancy so deep, the tree appears dead, but it is very much alive, just waiting. Some trees can survive temperatures of -40 degrees or colder. In Siberia and northern Canada, forests endure temperatures that would freeze exposed flesh in minutes. Yet when spring returns, sap flows again, buds swell, and leaves emerge. The tree's ability to shut down and restart is extraordinary, a biological resilience that allows forests to exist in some of Earth's harshest climates. Deciduous trees drop leaves to conserve water and energy. The bare branches of winter trees are not lifeless but strategic. Shedding leaves is an adaptation to winter's challenges. Leaves lose water through evaporation, but when the ground freezes, trees cannot replace that water. Keeping leaves would lead to fatal dehydration. So in autumn, trees withdraw nutrients from leaves, break down chlorophyll, and seal off leaf stems. The leaves fall, and the tree enters dormancy. Without leaves to maintain, the tree conserves energy through winter. The bare branches can withstand heavy snow loads better than foliage could. And when spring arrives, the tree uses its stored energy to produce fresh new leaves. This cycle of shedding and renewal has been repeated for countless millennia. The bare winter tree is not dead or defeated. It is patient, waiting for the return of conditions that will allow it to flourish once more. Its stillness is not emptiness, but quiet endurance. Buds form in autumn, waiting through winter to open. Even as trees shed their leaves, they prepare for spring. If you look closely at bare branches in winter, you will see buds, these small, tight packages formed in late summer and autumn. Inside each bud is a complete leaf or flower, miniaturized and protected by layers of scales. The bud remains dormant through winter, waiting for the right signals. Temperature is key. Trees track cold hours, requiring a certain amount of chilling before buds will respond to warmth. This prevents them from opening during a brief warm spell in midwinter, which would be fatal when cold returned. When spring finally arrives with its sustained warmth and lengthening days, hormones activate. The scales separate. The tiny structures inside expand rapidly. Within days, the tree transforms from bare to clothed in green. All winter, the potential for this transformation waited, locked inside those small buds, patient and ready. Winter's beauty sunrises and sunsets are more vivid in winter air. Winter light has a particular quality. The air is often clearer, with less humidity and fewer particles than in summer. This clarity allows sunlight to travel with less scattering, making colors more intense. Winter sunrises and sunsets can be breathtaking, with deep oranges, vibrant pinks, and rich purples painting the sky. The low angle of the sun at this time of year means sunlight passes through more atmosphere, enhancing the effect. Snow-covered landscapes reflect this colored light, so the entire world seems to glow. A winter sunset over snow is an experience of pure color, the white ground taking on shades of rose and gold. These displays are brief. The sun drops quickly in winter, and the colors fade to twilight, then darkness. But in those moments, winter reveals that it is not a season of absence but of different beauty, stark and clear and radiant. Shadows are longer and softer in winter's low sun. Because the sun travels a lower arc across the winter sky, shadows stretch longer. A person's shadow at noon in winter can be twice their height, whereas in summer it is barely visible. Trees cast long shadows across snow. Buildings create stripes of shade that reach across streets. These extended shadows add drama to the landscape, creating patterns of light and dark. The low sun also makes light softer, less harsh than summer's overhead glare. This gentleness is kind to eyes and creates a quality photographer's prize. Winter light is often described as beautiful precisely because of these characteristics: clear, slanting, golden, creating long shadows and gentle contrasts. It reminds us that light itself changes with the seasons, that winter is not just about cold and snow, but about a different relationship with the sun. Blue shadows appear on snow in certain light. Snow in sunlight appears brilliant white, but in shadow, it often takes on a blue tint. This happens because snow is an excellent reflector. In shadow, it is not receiving direct sunlight but is reflecting the blue light from the sky. Our eyes interpret this as blue shadows, a phenomenon artists have long captured in paintings. The effect is most pronounced on clear days when the sky is deeply blue. The contrast between the warm golden light of sun on snow and the cool blue of shadowed snow creates a visual harmony that is distinctly winter. Not everyone notices this at first, but once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The blue shadows become one of winter's subtle beauties, a reminder that color exists even in a landscape dominated by white. Snowscapes simplify the world into elegant forms. One of winter's most striking visual effects is simplification. Snow covers the complexity of the landscape, reducing it to essential shapes. A summer meadow filled with varied plants becomes a smooth white expanse. A forest of diverse undergrowth becomes clean trunks rising from snow. Details vanish. What remains are forms. The curve of a hill, the line of a fence, the silhouette of a lone tree. This simplification is aesthetically powerful. Artists and photographers seek out winter landscapes for this reason. The reduced palette, whites, grays, blacks, occasional touches of color, focuses attention on composition, on the relationship between shapes. There is something calming about this simplicity. The visual noise of the world is muted. What remains is elegant and clear. Winter strips away excess, leaving beauty in its most essential form. Moonlight on snow creates a luminous nighttime world. A full moon over fresh snow transforms night into something magical. Snow reflects moonlight efficiently, so the landscape glows with pale blue-white light. You can see clearly without a flashlight. Shadows appear, sharp and black against the luminous ground. The world feels dreamlike, suspended between day and night. It is light enough to walk easily, but still night, still quiet. Stars remain visible above, but the ground below is bright. This phenomenon has inspired poets and artists for centuries. Before electric lights, moonlit snow provided real illumination, allowing travel and work to continue after dark. Even now, it is enchanting. To step outside during a winter full moon and see the world lit by reflected moonlight is to experience a landscape transformed, made luminous and strange, beautiful in a way that belongs only to winter nights. Winter stars appear brighter in the cold, clear air. The same sky clarity that makes sunsets vivid also makes stars brilliant. On cold winter nights, with less atmospheric moisture and particulate matter, stars shine with exceptional clarity. The constellation Orion dominates winter skies in the northern hemisphere. Its stars bright and its shape unmistakable. Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, glitters like a diamond. The Pleiades cluster hangs like a tiny dipper of stars. Winter offers some of the best stargazing of the year. The cold requires warm clothing, but the reward is a sky of extraordinary depth and clarity. To stand outside on a clear winter night, snow crunching underfoot, and look up at the stars is to feel both the smallness of oneself and the vastness of the universe. Winter's cold brings us closer to the clarity of space, offering a view of the cosmos that warmer seasons cannot match. The winter hexagon is a pattern of bright stars. Winter nights display a notable asterism called the winter hexagon or winter circle. It is not a constellation, but a pattern formed by 6 bright stars from different constellations: Rigel from Orion, Aldebaran from Taurus, Capella from Auriga, Pollux from Gemini, Procyon from Canis Minor, and Sirius from Canis Major. These stars form a rough, hexagonal shape that dominates the winter sky. Inside this hexagon lies Betelgeuse, the red giant star in Orion. Stargazers use the winter hexagon as a guide to locate these prominent stars and their constellations. It is most visible in the evening sky from December through March. The pattern showcases some of the sky's brightest stars all at once, making winter an excellent time for beginning stargazers to learn the night sky. The hexagon reminds us that the stars, though scattered across vast distances, create patterns we can recognize and navigate by, connecting us to ancient traditions of watching the heavens. Aurora borealis is more active during winter darkness. The northern lights, or aurora borealis, occur year-round, but they are best seen in winter. The long hours of darkness provide more opportunity for viewing, and the clear, cold air offers better visibility. In regions near the Arctic Circle, winter nights can last for many hours, even all day in the deepest winter. During these dark periods, auroras dance across the sky with ribbons of green, purple, and red light. The displays can last minutes or hours, shifting and pulsing overhead. Indigenous peoples of the North have countless stories about the lights: spirits dancing, ancestors playing games, messages from other worlds. Scientists know they are caused by solar particles colliding with Earth's atmosphere, but the spiritual interpretations are no less valid. To witness an aurora is to see Earth's magnetic field made visible, to watch our planet interact with the sun in real time. Winter's darkness is the canvas on which this light show appears most brilliantly. Snow-covered mountains glow in Alpenglow light. In mountainous regions, winter brings a phenomenon called Alpenglow. During sunrise and sunset, when the sun is below the horizon, its light still catches the highest peaks. Snow-covered summits glow with warm pink, orange, or red light, while valleys remain in shadow. This effect can last for many minutes, creating a spectacle of color against the deepening blue of the sky. Alpenglow occurs because the atmosphere scatters shorter wavelengths of light, allowing the longer red and orange wavelengths to reach and illuminate distant peaks. The combination of snow, height, and low sun angle makes winter particularly favorable for Alpenglow. Mountaineers and photographers prize these moments, the mountains seeming to light up from within. Then, as the sun drops further, the glow fades, and the peaks return to white or grey. For those few minutes, however, the mountains appear transformed, touched by light that seems almost otherworldly in its beauty. Winter activities and traditions. Skating on frozen ponds is a cherished winter tradition. When lakes and ponds freeze solid, they become natural ice rinks. For centuries, people have strapped blades to their feet and glided across frozen water. Ice skating has roots in northern Europe, where it began as a practical means of winter travel. Over time, it became recreational, then artistic. Today, skating on a frozen pond remains a quintessential winter activity. The ice is rarely perfectly smooth. It may have cracks, frozen ripples, and patches of snow, but this imperfection is part of the charm. Skating outdoors, surrounded by winter landscape, is different from skating in an arena. The air is cold on your face. Your breath makes clouds. The ice makes sounds, creaks, groans, sharp cracks that travel across the surface. These sounds remind you that you are balanced on frozen water, a temporary solid that will return to liquid when warmth arrives. For now, though, it holds, offering a playground of ice. Hockey games on outdoor rinks bring communities together. In cold climates, outdoor hockey is more than a sport. It is a cultural touchstone. Communities flood fields or clear sections of frozen lakes to create rinks. Boards may be simple or non-existent. Lighting might be just a string of bulbs. But when people gather to play, the cold becomes irrelevant. Players bundle in layers, faces red from exertion, breath steaming. The sound of sticks hitting pucks echoes in the cold air. Spectators stamp their feet and sip hot drinks. These informal games create bonds, memories, and stories that last lifetimes. Professional hockey traces its roots to these frozen outdoor games. Even now, when most hockey is played indoors, outdoor rinks remain special. They represent winter at its most social. People coming together not despite the cold, but because of it, using ice as an excuse for community and play. Sledding turns hills into courses of laughter. Few winter activities are as universally joyful as sledding. The equipment can be as simple as a piece of cardboard or as elaborate as a steerable sled. The principle remains the same. Climb a snowy hill, sit on something slick, and slide down. Gravity does the work. The rider experiences speed, cold air, and often laughter. Sledding hills become gathering places. Children and adults alike line up, take turns, race, and crash spectacularly into snowbanks. The activity is ancient. Wherever there is snow and slope, people have found ways to slide. Modern sleds are faster and more controlled, but the essential experience has not changed. It is pure, simple fun. The effort of climbing back up the hill is rewarded by the thrill of the descent. By the end of a sledding session, you are often cold, wet, and tired. But you are also exhilarated, reminded that winter offers not just beauty and quiet, but also joy and play. Snowball fights are playful winter battles. Snow is perfect for throwing. It packs into balls. It is soft enough not to cause serious harm, and it is everywhere. Snowball fights have been a winter pastime for as long as humans have lived with snow. The rules are simple. Make snowballs and throw them at each other. Strategy quickly develops. Some build forts for cover. Others stockpile ammunition. Teams form. Tactics emerge. What begins as casual play can become an elaborate mock battle. Snowball fights are most common among children, but adults often join in, rediscovering the simple pleasure of play. There is something deeply satisfying about packing a perfect snowball and hitting your target. There is also humor in the chaos. People slipping, snowballs missing wildly, surprise attacks from behind. A good snowball fight ends with everyone laughing, covered in snow, and ready for warmth. It transforms a cold day into an adventure, using winter itself as the medium for fun. Building snowmen is a creative winter art form. A fresh snowfall invites creation. The classic form is a snowman, 3 stacked snowballs of decreasing size, decorated with whatever is at hand. Sticks become arms, stones or coal become eyes and buttons. A carrot serves as a nose, but snow sculpture can become far more elaborate. Artists create detailed figures, animals, castles, and abstract forms. Snow is a forgiving medium. It can be packed, carved, and molded. Mistakes can be added to or reformed. The impermanence is part of the appeal. A snow sculpture is temporary art, existing only until the next snow, the next thaw, or the next warm day. This transience makes it special. You create knowing it will not last, which frees you to experiment and play. Neighborhoods sometimes hold snow sculpture contests, and some cities host elaborate snow festivals with massive, intricate sculptures. But even a simple snowman in a front yard is a statement. I was here, I played, I made something in the midst of winter. Cross-country skiing glides through quiet winter landscapes. While downhill skiing thrills with speed, cross-country skiing offers something different: peaceful travel through winter terrain. Using narrow skis and poles, skiers propel themselves across snow-covered ground. The rhythm is meditative. Push, glide, push, glide. Cross-country skiing can take you into forests, across frozen lakes, through fields where no other winter travel is practical. It is both exercise and exploration. The equipment is simpler than downhill gear, and you are not dependent on mountains or lifts. Any snowy landscape becomes accessible. In Nordic countries, cross-country skiing is a way of life, as common as walking. Groomed trails wind through forests and between towns. But skiing can also be done on ungroomed snow, breaking your own trail. The silence of a winter forest, the soft swish of skis on snow, the physical exertion that keeps you warm despite the cold, these elements combine to make cross-country skiing a favorite winter activity for those who seek quiet communion with the season. Snowshoeing allows walking on deep snow. Before skis, before machines, people in snowy regions used snowshoes, wide frames webbed with leather or cord, strapped to boots. They distribute weight over a larger area, preventing the wearer from sinking into deep snow. Traditional snowshoes were works of craftsmanship, bent wood and rawhide. Modern versions use aluminium and synthetic materials, but serve the same purpose. Snowshoeing is accessible to anyone who can walk. It requires no special athletic skill, just the willingness to move through winter landscape. With snowshoes, you can go places impossible in regular boots, across meadows of powder, up snowy hills, through untracked forests. The activity has seen a resurgence as people seek winter recreation that is simpler than skiing. Snowshoeing is quiet, slow-paced, and meditative. It allows you to be in winter, to experience its depth and silence, to travel through snow rather than fighting against it. Ice fishing is a patient winter pursuit. When lakes freeze thick, fishing does not stop. It just changes form. Ice fishers drill or chop holes through the ice and drop lines into the water below. Then they wait. Ice fishing requires patience and a tolerance for cold. Some fishers sit in the open, others set up shelters, small huts or tents that provide wind protection and a place to heat. Inside, it can be surprisingly cozy. A small heater, a stool, perhaps a radio, and the hole in the ice glowing with underwater light. Fish are sluggish in cold water but still hungry. Through the hole, you watch your line, waiting for the telltale tug. Ice fishing is social in many places. Communities of shelters appear on popular lakes, becoming temporary villages. Neighbors visit, share stories and coffee. The fish are almost secondary to the experience. The camaraderie, the simplicity, the excuse to be outside in winter, doing something purposeful, yet unhurried. Winter festivals celebrate the season with light and joy. Cultures around the world refuse to let winter be a time of mere endurance. Instead, they celebrate. Winter festivals fill the darkest months with light, food, music, and community. Quebec City's Winter Carnival features ice palaces and parades. Japan's Sapporo Snow Festival showcases massive snow and ice sculptures. Norway's ice hotels and festivals embrace the cold as an attraction. These celebrations transform winter from adversary to occasion. They feature bonfires, hot food, warm drinks, and activities that make use of snow and ice. Competitions include ice sculpting, skiing, skating, and even polar bear swims, where brave souls plunge into frigid water. The spirit of these festivals is defiant joy. We will not hide from winter. We will dance in it, build with it, feast in it. They remind us that attitude shapes experience, that winter can be a season of celebration rather than just survival. Hot chocolate and warm drinks are winter comforts. Few things are more associated with winter than cradling a warm mug in cold hands. Hot chocolate, tea, coffee, cider, mulled wine. These drinks provide both physical warmth and psychological comfort. The heat radiates through the cup into your palms. The steam warms your face. The first sip sends warmth down your throat and into your belly. In a cold world, this warmth is deeply satisfying. The ritual of making a warm drink on a winter day is itself comforting. The boiling water, the stirring, the addition of flavors, cinnamon, nutmeg, marshmallows, whipped cream. These small acts of preparation slow us down, create a moment of self-care. Then, drink in hand, we might sit by a window watching snowfall, or curl up with a book, or simply hold the mug and feel its warmth. In this way, a simple beverage becomes one of winter's great pleasures, a small but significant defense against the cold. Winter weather phenomena. Blizzards are powerful winter storms with high winds. Not all snowstorms are blizzards. For a storm to qualify as a blizzard, it must have sustained winds of at least 35 miles per hour, along with heavy snow or blowing snow that reduces visibility to less than a quarter mile. These conditions must last for at least 3 hours. Blizzards are disorienting and dangerous. The wind drives snow horizontally, making it impossible to see. Drifts pile up rapidly, burying roads and buildings. Wind chill plunges temperatures to life-threatening levels. People caught outside can become lost within yards of shelter. The sound is intense, wind howling, rattling windows, finding every crack and gap. During blizzards, life stops. Schools and businesses close. Travel becomes impossible. Communities hunker down and wait. When the storm finally ends, the world is transformed under massive drifts. The digging out begins. Paths, driveways, streets. Blizzards remind us that winter, for all its beauty, retains the power to be dangerous and demanding. Whiteout conditions erase the boundary between earth and sky. In heavy snow with strong winds, or in blowing snow after a storm, visibility can reduce to nothing. This is called a whiteout. Snow fills the air so completely that you cannot see beyond a few feet. More disorienting still, the falling or blowing snow creates an effect where the ground and sky blend together. There are no visual references, no horizon, no shadows, no sense of up or down. This is profoundly unsettling. Drivers can lose the road. Hikers can become turned-around steps from safety. In polar regions, whiteouts can last for days. The complete loss of spatial reference causes nausea and panic in some people. The only safe response is to stop moving and wait. Whiteouts are a reminder that snow, so gentle and beautiful in calm conditions, can become something almost hostile when wind and density combine to erase the world from view. Lake effect snow creates heavy snowfall in specific areas. Near large lakes, winter weather can be dramatically influenced by the water. When cold air moves over warmer lake water, it picks up moisture. As this moisture-laden air reaches the colder land on the far shore, it releases that moisture as snow. This is lake effect snow. It can be incredibly intense, dumping several feet of snow in a narrow band, while areas just miles away remain clear. The Great Lakes region is famous for this. Cities like Buffalo and Syracuse regularly receive massive snowfalls from lake effect. The snow is often fluffy and accumulates quickly. Because the effect depends on the direction of wind and the temperature difference between air and water, it is localized and can be difficult to predict precisely. One side of a city might be buried while the other sees little snow. Lake effect snow is a unique phenomenon, a collaboration between water, air, temperature, and geography that creates some of winter's heaviest snowfalls. Nor'easters bring heavy snow to coastal regions. Along the eastern coast of North America, particularly from the mid-Atlantic to New England, winter storms called nor'easters bring heavy snow, high winds, and coastal flooding. These storms form when cold air from Canada meets warm air over the Atlantic Ocean. The collision creates powerful low-pressure systems that track up the coast. The name comes from the northeasterly winds that blow in from the ocean ahead of the storm. Nor'easters can stall and intensify, dumping enormous amounts of snow over several days. They combine snow with wind, creating blizzard conditions. Coastal areas also face storm surge and beach erosion. Major nor'easters are historic events, remembered for years. They shut down cities, collapse roofs under snow weight, and leave communities digging out for weeks. Yet they also create a shared experience, a common story that binds people who endured them together. Thundersnow is rare and dramatic. Most thunderstorms occur in warm weather, but occasionally, thunder and lightning accompany winter snowstorms. This phenomenon, called thundersnow, is rare and striking. It occurs when the atmosphere becomes unusually unstable during a winter storm, allowing the strong updrafts necessary for thunderstorm formation. When lightning flashes during heavy snow, it illuminates the falling flakes, creating an eerie, beautiful effect. The thunder sounds different too, often muffled by the snow. Thundersnow is most common during intense lake-effect snowstorms or powerful nor'easters. Meteorologists get excited when it happens because it indicates a particularly strong storm. For those who experience it, thundersnow is unforgettable. The surreal combination of winter snow and summer storm, two weather extremes merged into one. It is a reminder that weather does not follow strict rules, that nature can surprise us by combining elements in unexpected ways. Ice storms can transform the world into crystal. Freezing rain creates ice storms, and they are among winter's most dangerous and beautiful phenomena. When rain falls through cold air and freezes on contact with surfaces, everything becomes coated in clear ice. A quarter inch of ice is enough to snap branches. A half inch can bring down power lines. Trees groan and crack under the weight. Power outages can last weeks, yet the transformation is breathtaking. Every twig, every blade of grass, every surface becomes encased in ice. When the sun emerges after an ice storm, the world glitters. Light refracts through the ice, coating everything, creating rainbows. The tinkling sound of ice-coated branches moving in the breeze is like wind chimes. Walking is treacherous. Every surface is slick. But if you can stay safe and warm, an ice-coated world is one of nature's most spectacular displays. It looks as though everything has been dipped in glass, transformed into a crystal sculpture garden. Windchill makes cold feel more intense. Temperature alone does not tell the full story of how cold it feels. Wind strips away the thin layer of warmth that your body creates around your skin. The faster the wind, the more quickly your body loses heat. Windchill is a measure that combines temperature and wind speed to reflect how cold it actually feels. A calm day at 20 degrees might be tolerable. The same temperature with 30-mile-per-hour winds can feel like below zero and be dangerous. Exposed skin can freeze quickly in high wind chill conditions. Frostbite becomes a real risk. Weather reports include wind chill specifically because it affects safety. What might seem like moderate cold on the thermometer can be life-threatening when wind is factored in. Wind transforms cold from uncomfortable to dangerous. It finds its way through clothing, steals body heat, and makes winter survival a matter of proper preparation and respect for the conditions. Frost quakes occur when ground freezes rapidly. In rare circumstances, winter produces a phenomenon that sounds like an explosion or earthquake, but is caused by freezing. When water-saturated soil freezes rapidly during extreme cold, it expands. If the expansion is sudden and forceful enough, the frozen ground can crack with a loud boom that vibrates buildings and startles residents. These events are called frost quakes or cryoseisms. They occur most often during extreme cold snaps, when temperatures plunge far below freezing quickly. The boom can be loud enough to wake people from sleep, causing them to rush outside, thinking something has exploded or crashed. Instead, they find nothing amiss, just the bitter cold. Frost quakes are harmless, but alarming. They are a reminder that ice is a powerful force, capable of cracking stone and earth, and that winter cold penetrates deep, transforming not just the surface, but the ground beneath our feet. Winter landscapes around the world. The Arctic experiences months of continuous winter darkness. In the far north, winter is not just cold but dark. Above the Arctic Circle, the sun disappears below the horizon for weeks or months during winter. This period, called polar night, varies in length depending on latitude. At the North Pole itself, the sun sets in September and does not rise again until March. For communities living through polar night, life continues in darkness. Artificial lights replace the sun. People go to work, children go to school, all in darkness. It might seem depressing, but many who live there find beauty in it. The long twilight hours create stunning colors, deep blues, purples, and when the sun is just below the horizon, pink and orange glows. The stars are visible for extended periods, as are the northern lights. Polar night is challenging, but it is also unique, offering experiences impossible elsewhere. It is a reminder of Earth's tilt and orbit, of how profoundly geography shapes experience. Antarctica is the coldest place on Earth. The Antarctic interior holds the record for Earth's coldest temperatures, reaching below -130 degrees Fahrenheit. It is a desert, receiving very little precipitation, yet it is covered in ice because nothing melts. The ice sheet is miles thick in places, representing 70% of Earth's fresh water frozen solid. Conditions are so extreme that only research stations exist, no permanent human habitation. The winter there lasts from March to September, with the sun disappearing for months. Blizzards and winds exceeding 100 miles per hour are common. Yet Antarctica has a stark beauty. Endless ice fields, towering glaciers, the pure white of snow under stars or southern lights. It is Earth's most inhospitable continent, a place where winter is not a season, but a permanent state, softened only briefly by summer's return. To experience Antarctic winter is to confront cold in its most absolute form. Siberia endures some of the coldest inhabited winters. While Antarctica is colder, Siberia holds the distinction of being the coldest permanently inhabited region on Earth. Towns like Oymyakon and Verkhoyansk regularly see winter temperatures below -60 degrees Fahrenheit. At these temperatures, exposed skin freezes in minutes. Breath turns to ice crystals before it dissipates. Car engines must be kept running or they will not restart. Yet people live there, work there, raise families there. Life adapts. Buildings are constructed on stilts to prevent ground thaw from melting permafrost foundations. Layers of fur and insulated clothing are standard. Food must be stored carefully. Freezers are unnecessary outdoors. The cold is simply a fact of life, accommodated and endured. For those who live there, winter is not an interruption, but the dominant reality, lasting 8 or 9 months of the year. Their resilience is remarkable, a testament to human adaptability. Scandinavian countries embrace winter culture. In Norway, Sweden, and Finland, winter is not something to endure, but to celebrate. These cultures have developed deep relationships with the season. Skiing is as natural as walking. Children ski to school. Families take skiing vacations. Winter sports are woven into daily life. Buildings are designed with winter in mind. Excellent insulation, heated floors, large windows to maximize what daylight exists. The concept of hygge in Denmark and koselig in Norway represents coziness, the art of making winter comfortable and pleasant. People light candles, gather with friends, drink warm beverages, and create warm, inviting spaces. There is an understanding that winter requires embracing rather than resisting. Outdoor activities continue year-round. There is a saying that there is no bad weather, only bad clothing. This attitude transforms winter from burden to opportunity, from dark and cold to cozy and adventurous. Alpine regions transform into winter wonderlands. Mountains in winter become different worlds. Snow accumulates heavily at elevation, transforming peaks and valleys. Alpine villages that are green and flowered in summer become snow-covered retreats. The Alps, the Rockies, the Himalayas, all these ranges draw people specifically for winter. Skiing and snowboarding are major industries, but beyond sport, there is beauty. Snow-covered peaks against blue sky are iconic images of winter. Evergreen forests, heavy with snow, create paths through white silence. Mountain winters are harsh at elevation, with avalanche danger and extreme cold. But in the valleys and on the slopes, they are magical. The clarity of mountain air makes stars brilliant. Snow squeaks underfoot. Wood smoke from chimneys rises straight up in cold, still air. Alpine winter combines challenge and beauty, danger and comfort, in landscapes that have drawn humans for centuries. Temperate regions experience gentler winters. Not all winter is extreme. In temperate climates, winter is milder. Snow may fall, but not heavily or often. Temperatures drop, but rarely to dangerous levels. Trees are bare, grass is brown, and the landscape is quiet, but not frozen and buried. These gentle winters have their own character. They are seasons of transition more than extremes. Rain is more common than snow. Grey skies dominate, but there are still cold, clear days. Still frost on grass in the morning. Still the need for coats and warmth. And still the feeling of winter, Shorter days, longer nights, dormancy. Temperate winter is accessible, less demanding, but also less dramatic. It lacks the spectacular snowfalls and brilliant sun on snow of colder regions. Instead, it offers subtlety, mist, bare branches against grey sky, the quiet drip of rain. It is winter in a softer voice, still recognizable but gentler in its touch. Deserts can experience surprising winter cold. We think of deserts as hot, but many experience significant cold in winter. High desert regions, in particular, can see snow and freezing temperatures. The Mojave, the Gobi, parts of the Sahara, all can be bitterly cold at night during winter months. Deserts lack the moderating influence of water and vegetation. Heat, absorbed during the day, radiates away quickly at night. In winter, with less daylight and lower sun angles, temperatures plummet. Snow dusting red rock formations creates surreal landscapes. Cacti surrounded by snow look misplaced. Desert. Wildlife adapts, some species hibernating or becoming dormant. For humans visiting or living in these regions, winter requires different preparation than summer. The same landscape that can be deadly hot in July can be dangerously cold in January. Desert winter reminds us that these environments are defined by extremes, not just heat, but also dramatic temperature swings. The science of cold water expands when it freezes into ice. Most substances contract when they cool and solidify. Water does the opposite. As it freezes, it expands by about 9%. This unusual property is due to water's molecular structure. Liquid water molecules move freely. In ice, they lock into a hexagonal crystal lattice with space between molecules. This structure is less dense than liquid water, which is why ice floats. This property has profound consequences. Pipes burst when water inside them freezes and expands. Rock cracks when water in crevices freezes, a process called frost wedging that slowly breaks down mountains. But the expansion also means ice floats, which is crucial for life. If ice sank, lakes and oceans would freeze from the bottom up, likely freezing solid in winter. Because ice floats, it forms an insulating layer on top, allowing water beneath to remain liquid. Aquatic life survives winter under the ice. This quirk of physics makes winter survivable for countless species. Supercooled water remains liquid below freezing. Under certain conditions, water can cool below 32 degrees Fahrenheit without freezing. This is called supercooling. It happens when water is very pure and still, lacking the impurities or disturbances that trigger ice crystal formation. Supercooled water is unstable. The slightest disturbance, a vibration, a speck of dust, a touch, causes it to flash freeze instantly. You can see this in clouds, where tiny droplets remain liquid at temperatures well below freezing. When they encounter an aircraft or mountaintop, they freeze on contact, creating dangerous icing. Supercooled water is also why freezing rain occurs. Droplets fall through cold air without freezing until they hit the ground. The phenomenon is fascinating to watch in experiments. A bottle of purified water can be chilled below freezing. Then, when tapped, ice crystals form and spread through the liquid in seconds. Supercooling reveals that phase changes are not just about temperature, but also about nucleation, the trigger that allows the change to begin. Ice has multiple crystalline structures. Not all ice is the same. At different pressures and temperatures, water can freeze into various crystalline structures, each with different properties. The ice we encounter daily is called ice E, 1Ha. The forms stable at normal pressure and temperature, but under high pressure, other forms exist. Ice 2, Ice 3, and so on. Scientists have identified at least 18 different ice phases. Some are denser than water, Some have different crystal geometries. At extreme pressure, found in the deep interior of icy moons like Europa, water forms exotic high-pressure ices, unlike anything on Earth's surface. These discoveries matter for understanding planetary science and the behavior of water throughout the universe. They remind us that even something as familiar as ice holds complexities we are still exploring. Frost forms intricate patterns following physical laws. The feathery patterns of frost on windows are not random, but follow principles of crystal growth. Ice crystals grow fastest along certain axes determined by molecular structure. Imperfections and scratches on glass provide nucleation sites where growth begins. As crystals expand, they branch in patterns that repeat at different scales, a fractal-like quality. Temperature and humidity affect the pattern. Warmer, moister conditions produce more elaborate designs. Colder, drier conditions create simpler forms. The result is that each frost pattern is unique, yet all follow the same underlying rules. Watching frost form in time-lapse reveals the process. Crystals spreading like growing plants, reaching across glass in branching paths. It is physics and chemistry creating art, demonstrating that beauty in nature often emerges from simple rules applied over and over. Glaciers are rivers of ice moving slowly. Glaciers form when snow accumulates faster than it melts, compressing under its own weight into dense ice. Over decades and centuries, this ice begins to flow downhill under gravity. The movement is slow, often just inches or feet per year, but it is real flow. Glaciers carve valleys, transport rocks, and reshape landscapes. They hold immense amounts of fresh water, more than all rivers and lakes combined. During ice ages, glaciers covered vast portions of continents. Today, they remain in polar regions and high mountains. Glacier ice can be thousands of years old, preserving bubbles of ancient air that scientists study to understand past climates. Glaciers are sensitive to temperature change. Warming causes them to retreat, losing mass faster than snow can replenish it. The blue color of glacier ice comes from dense ice, absorbing red light and reflecting blue, creating shades of turquoise and deep blue that are astonishingly vivid. Snow insulates the ground beneath it. Snow is not just a covering, it is a protective blanket. The air trapped between snow crystals is an excellent insulator. Even a few inches of snow can significantly moderate ground temperature. When the air above is far below freezing, the ground beneath the snow may remain near 32 degrees. This creates a space between ground and snow called the subnivean zone. Small animals like voles, shrews, and mice live and forage there through winter. The temperature is stable, and they are protected from predators and wind. Plants also benefit. Their roots are insulated from the hardest freezes. In regions with reliable snow cover, the ground may not freeze deeply at all. Farmers sometimes refer to snow as poor man's fertilizer, not only because melting snow provides moisture, but because it protects soil and enables microbial activity to continue longer into winter. Permafrost is ground that remains frozen year-round. In the coldest regions, the ground does not thaw even in summer. This permanently frozen ground is called permafrost. It can extend hundreds of feet deep. A thin layer at the surface may thaw in summer, called the active layer. But below that, the ground remains frozen. Permafrost shapes the landscape. Trees cannot root deeply, creating stunted forests. Buildings must be constructed on stilts to prevent their heat from melting permafrost and causing foundations to sink. Permafrost also stores enormous amounts of organic carbon, the remains of plants and animals frozen for millennia. As climate warms and permafrost thaws, this carbon may be released as methane and carbon dioxide, contributing to further warming. Thawing permafrost also reveals ancient remains, woolly mammoths, prehistoric plants, glimpses into ecosystems that existed tens of thousands of years ago. Ice cores reveal ancient climates. Scientists drill deep into glaciers and ice sheets, extracting cores of ice that can be miles long. These cores are time capsules. Each layer represents a year of snowfall. Within the ice are trapped bubbles of ancient air, dust particles, and chemical markers. By analyzing these, researchers reconstruct past temperatures, atmospheric composition, volcanic eruptions, and more. Ice cores from Antarctica go back over 800,000 years, providing a detailed climate record through multiple ice ages. They show how carbon dioxide and temperature have varied over millennia. They reveal how quickly climate can change. Ice cores are some of our most valuable tools for understanding Earth's climate history and predicting future changes. Each core is a book of Earth's past, written in frozen water and preserved in the Renner, coldest places on the planet. Winter in history and culture. Ancient peoples marked winter solstice as a turning point. Before modern science explained the seasons, humans recognized the solstice as significant. The sun's lowest point marked a transition. Afterward, light would return. This was cause for celebration and ritual. Stonehenge aligns with the winter solstice sunset, suggesting its importance to Neolithic peoples. Romans celebrated Dies Natalis Solis Invicti, the birthday of the unconquered sun, on the solstice. Many cultures lit fires and held feasts, practical ways to share warmth and food during the darkest time. The solstice also marked divisions in the calendar. It signaled that the hardest part of winter was beginning, but also that spring would eventually come. These ancient observations and celebrations show that humans have always watched the sky, marked the seasons, and found meaning in the cycles of light and dark. Winter has shaped human migration and history. Climate and season have driven human movement throughout history. The onset of winter ice ages forced populations to migrate or adapt. The Little Ice Age in medieval times caused crop failures, famines, and social upheaval in Europe. Harsh winters have turned the tide of wars. Napoleon's invasion of Russia in 1812 was devastated by early winter cold. The same fate met German forces in World War II. Winter warfare requires specialized training and equipment. Frostbite and hypothermia can incapacitate armies as effectively as enemy action. On the civilian side, harsh winters drove innovations. Better housing, preserved foods, warm clothing. Communities in cold climates developed technologies and social structures to survive. Winter shaped where cities were built, what crops were grown, and how societies organized. It has been a persistent force in human history, a challenge that pushed innovation and sometimes survival itself. Some cultures developed specialized winter dwellings. Indigenous peoples of the Arctic created ingenious winter shelters. The igloo, built from blocks of compressed snow, is a marvel of design. Snow's insulating properties make the interior much warmer than outside. A small lamp can raise interior temperature to comfortable levels. The dome shape provides structural strength while minimizing surface area. Sami, people of northern Scandinavia, used lavu, tent-like structures insulated with reindeer hides. In Siberia, some groups built semi-underground dwellings, using earth as insulation. These structures represent deep knowledge of materials and environment. They worked with winter rather than against it, using available materials and understanding thermal properties. Today, these traditional designs influence modern cold climate architecture. The principles remain sound: insulation, minimizing heat loss, using local materials, working with rather than against the climate. Hibernation myths reflected observations of dormant animals. Ancient peoples noticed that some animals disappeared in winter. Bears entered dens and did not emerge until spring. Frogs vanished from ponds. Swallows seemed to disappear entirely. Without scientific knowledge, people created explanations. Some believed bears did not truly sleep, but spent winter in spiritual communion. Others thought swallows buried themselves in mud at pond bottoms, essentially hibernating underwater. These myths reflected genuine observations of disappearance and torpor. As science developed, the true mechanisms emerged: hibernation, migration, diapause. But the myths had been grounded, in fact, creative explanations for real phenomena. They show humans trying to make sense of the natural world, to understand why winter transformed not just the landscape, but the creatures within it. Winter festivals often featured fire and light. Across cultures and centuries, winter celebrations have centered on fire and light. This makes practical and symbolic sense. Fire provides warmth and extends usable hours into darkness. Symbolically, it represents the sun, hope, and the promise of returning light. Bonfires at winter solstice were common in Europe. Candles feature in Hanukkah, Christmas, and Kwanzaa. Japanese festivals light ice lanterns. Scandinavian St. Lucia Day involves candlelit processions. These lights push back darkness literally and figuratively. They create focal points for community gathering. They transform winter from isolated and dark to illuminated and social. The endurance of these traditions, across millennia and geography, shows a deep human response to winter darkness. We light fires, kindle flames, and gather together in their glow. Winter clothing evolved with climate and culture. Humans are tropical animals by origin. Spreading into cold climates required innovation. Early humans used animal skins and furs, materials that evolved creatures had already optimized for warmth. Different cultures developed distinctive, cold weather garments. The parka, with its fur-lined hood, originated with Arctic peoples. Felt boots called valenki kept Russian feet warm. Layers are universal. Base layers trap heat. Middle layers insulate. Outer layers block wind and moisture. Modern materials like synthetic insulation and moisture-wicking fabrics are high-tech versions of ancient principles. But traditional materials remain effective. Wool still outperforms many synthetics. Down is still among the best insulators. Winter clothing is not fashion, but survival technology, refined over generations into garments that allow humans to thrive in environments that would otherwise kill us within hours. The word winter comes from ancient roots meaning water. The English word winter traces back through Old English, German, and Proto-Germanic roots that likely meant water or wet season. In the northern climates where these languages developed, winter was indeed the wet season, with snow, ice, and frozen precipitation dominating. Other languages have different roots for the season, but many connect to concepts of cold, death, or sleep. Latin hibernum means winter and gives us hibernate. In many languages, the words for winter, snow, and cold are linguistically connected. These etymologies reveal how deeply winter shaped the cultures and languages of cold climate peoples. The season was significant enough that words for it are ancient and fundamental, woven into the basic vocabulary of survival. Winter's quiet gifts. Winter invites introspection and rest. The outward growth of spring and summer gives way to winter's inward turn. Shorter days and cold weather encourage us to spend more time inside, to slow down, to rest. This is not laziness, but alignment with natural rhythms. Many spiritual traditions recognize winter as a time for reflection, contemplation, and inner work. The external world is dormant. We too can embrace dormancy, This might mean more sleep, which humans naturally crave in darker months. It might mean quieter activities, reading, thinking, planning for the year ahead. Modern life often resists this rhythm, demanding the same productivity year-round. But when we allow ourselves to honor winter's invitation to rest, we often emerge renewed. Like plants storing energy in roots, or animals sleeping through scarcity, our winter rest prepares us for the growth that spring will demand. Darkness allows deeper sleep and restoration. Longer nights are winter's gift to sleep. Humans evolved to sleep more in winter and less in summer. While modern lighting disrupts this pattern, our biology still responds to seasonal changes. Winter darkness promotes melatonin production earlier in the evening. This hormone regulates sleep-wake cycles and has antioxidant properties. More darkness can mean deeper, more restorative sleep. In places with strong seasonal variation, people naturally sleep more in winter. This extra sleep is not depression or laziness, but biological wisdom. Sleep consolidates memories, repairs tissues, and regulates mood. Winter's darkness is not something to fight with constant artificial light, but something to work with, allowing our bodies the extra rest they are designed to take during this season. The stillness of winter landscapes promotes calm. There is something profoundly calming about a snow-covered landscape. The muffled sound, the simplified visual palette, the absence of movement, all create a sense of peace. Psychological studies suggest that time in nature reduces stress, and winter nature, while harsher, can be especially effective. The quietness demands attention. The cold requires presence. You cannot zone out while walking in winter. You must engage. Yet this engagement is meditative rather than stressful. The crunch of snow, the bite of cold air, the clarity of seeing your breath, these sensory experiences ground you in the present moment. Winter walks offer a different kind of nature therapy than summer ones. Where summer is abundant and busy, winter is spare and still. Both are valuable. Winter's stillness can quiet an overactive mind, providing space that warmer seasons do not. Winter cooking brings comfort and warmth. Cold weather changes what we want to eat. Heavy soups, rich stews, roasted meats, baked goods, these foods are winter comfort. They are warm to eat, but the preparation also heats the kitchen. Before central heating, cooking was a primary heat source. Even now, a pot simmering on the stove or a pie in the oven warms a home and fills it with inviting aromas. Winter cooking tends to be slower, more involved. Bread rising, beans soaking, stock simmering for hours. These processes align with winter's slower pace. The food itself is often more substantial, providing the calories needed to maintain body heat. Shared meals become even more important in winter, a way to gather warmth and community. The rituals of winter cooking, the preparation, the waiting, the sharing are as nourishing as the food itself. Cozy spaces become havens from the cold. The concept of coziness is elevated in winter. A cozy space is warm, soft, and safe from harsh weather outside. Creating coziness is an art. Soft lighting, comfortable seating, warm textiles like blankets and pillows, perhaps a fireplace or candles. These spaces become refuges. Coming in from cold to warmth is deeply satisfying. Your body relaxes. Cold, tensed muscles loosen. The contrast between outside and inside makes the interior warmth sweeter. Cultures with harsh winters have refined coziness. Danish hygge, Dutch gezelligheid, German Gemütlichkeit. These concepts acknowledge that winter requires actively creating comfort and contentment. A cozy space is not just physically warm, but emotionally warm. It is a place where you feel safe, content, and unhurried. In winter's darkness, These small havens of warmth and light become essential. Reading by firelight is an ancient winter pastime. Before electricity, winter evenings were long and dark. Firelight and candles provided illumination for a few hours after sunset, then darkness and sleep. In this environment, reading was precious. A book by firelight is still a cherished experience. The flickering light is gentle, less harsh than electric bulbs. The fire's warmth is comforting. The activity is calm and focused. Winter has always been a season for stories. Long nights required entertainment that cost nothing and could involve everyone. Oral storytelling traditions are often strongest in winter-bound cultures. Books extended this tradition. Winter reading has a different quality than summer reading. Summer reading might be outside, interrupted, recreational. Winter reading is sustained, focused, immersive. It is a way to travel without leaving the fireside, to experience adventure while remaining warm and safe. Winter mornings have a unique tranquility. Waking on a winter morning is different. The darkness outside makes wakefulness feel private and cocooned. If you wake before dawn, there is a special quiet. Snow, if present, muffles sound even more. The world outside is asleep. Frost patterns on windows catch early light. The cold air makes the warmth of blankets and home more precious. There is no urgency to rush into the day. Winter mornings invite slowness. A longer breakfast, a second cup of coffee, watching dawn arrive late and gentle. For early risers, winter mornings offer solitude and peace. The day has not yet made demands. In that quiet hour, wrapped in warmth while cold presses against windows, there is a sense of sanctuary. The morning belongs to you alone. Watching snow fall is meditative. Fresh snow falling has a hypnotic quality. You can watch it for long stretches without boredom. Each flake follows its own wandering path. They fall without urgency, without purpose, simply responding to air currents and gravity. This purposelessness is part of the appeal. Watching snow fall requires nothing of you. There is no goal, no outcome to anticipate. It is pure process. This makes it meditative. The mind can rest, while the eyes track the gentle descent. Snow falling at night past a streetlight is particularly mesmerizing. The flakes appearing suddenly in the light cone, glowing briefly, then disappearing back into darkness. Time seems to suspend. The world narrows to you and the falling snow. It is a form of natural meditation, available whenever snow falls, requiring only that you stop and watch. Winter wildlife cardinals stand out brilliantly against snow. In the muted palette of winter, the northern cardinal blazes. Males are brilliant red, a color that seems almost artificially bright against snow and gray branches. Females are tan with red tinges, more subtle but still colorful. Cardinals do not migrate, remaining through winter even in harsh climates. They visit feeders, their presence a welcome splash of color and life. Seeing a cardinal in snow is one of winter's iconic images, frequently featured on holiday cards and in art. Beyond their beauty, cardinals are hardy. They fluff their feathers for insulation. They seek sheltered roosting spots. They can lower their metabolism overnight to conserve energy. Bird feeders become crucial for their survival during prolonged cold or heavy snow when natural food is buried. A cardinal at a snow-covered feeder represents resilience and beauty persisting through winter's challenges. Chickadees cache seeds for winter survival. Black-capped chickadees are year-round residents across much of North America. These small, energetic birds have a remarkable survival strategy. In autumn, they hide seeds and insects in thousands of locations: bark crevices, dead leaves, under lichen. Then they remember where they cached food, retrieving it throughout winter. To accomplish this, their hippocampus, the brain region associated with spatial memory, actually grows in autumn. They become better at remembering locations just when they need to. Each cache may only be visited once. The chickadee remembers which spots have been emptied. This cognitive feat allows them to survive when insects are unavailable and snow covers other food sources. Watching chickadees at winter feeders, taking seeds and flying off to cache them, is to witness an ancient survival strategy. Those tiny birds are storing food and memories, preparing for scarcity with impressive intelligence. Snowy owls migrate south in winter. The snowy owl is an Arctic breeder, nesting on the tundra during summer. In winter, some migrate south into southern Canada and the northern United States. In years when Arctic prey populations crash, migration can be dramatic, with many owls appearing far south of their normal range. These events, called eruptions, bring snowy owls to areas where they are rarely seen. The owls are striking, large, white, with piercing yellow eyes. They perch in open areas, on ground or low posts, hunting during the day. Unlike most owls, snowy owls are diurnal, adapted to Arctic summer's continuous daylight. Seeing one sitting in a snowy field is memorable. They blend into snow, then reveal themselves by movement or flight. Their appearance feels like a visitation from the far north, a reminder that winter connects us to distant, wilder places. Ptarmigan change color with the seasons. Ptarmigan are grouse that live in Arctic and alpine regions. They have an extraordinary adaptation, seasonal color change. In summer, their plumage is mottled brown, matching tundra vegetation. In autumn, they molt. New feathers come in white. By winter, ptarmigan are entirely white, except for dark eyes and beak, providing perfect camouflage against snow. This protects them from predators like foxes and raptors. In spring, the process reverses. White feathers molt out, brown feathers grow in. Ptarmigan literally change their appearance to match the landscape. They also grow feathers on their feet in winter, creating natural snowshoes that prevent sinking into snow. These adaptations allow them to thrive in environments where temperatures plunge far below zero, and snow covers the ground for 9 months of the year. Wolves hunt more successfully in deep snow. While snow hinders some animals, it benefits wolves. Deep snow exhausts prey like deer and elk, slowing their movement and limiting escape routes. Wolves, with longer legs and traveling in packs, can pursue prey across snow more efficiently. They have wide paws that distribute weight, functioning like snowshoes. A single wolf might struggle, but a pack can take turns breaking trail, rotating the lead position to share the exhausting work. In winter, wolves increase their territory size, traveling greater distances to find prey. Their howls carry farther in cold, still air, allowing pack communication across miles. Winter is a challenging time for wolves. Food is scarce, energy expenditure is high, but they are adapted for it. Their thick coats, pack structure, and hunting strategies make them apex predators, even in the harshest winter conditions. Beavers remain active beneath the ice. Beavers do not hibernate. Through winter, they live in lodges surrounded by ice, venturing out under the ice to retrieve food. In autumn, beavers stockpile branches near their lodges, creating underwater caches. These food piles are accessible even when the pond's surface is frozen solid. The beaver swims out, grabs a branch, and brings it back to the lodge to eat the bark. Inside the lodge, above water level, is a dry chamber where the beaver family rests. Their body heat warms this space, which has a vent hole for air circulation. The ice around the lodge is several inches thick, protecting them from predators. Beavers have adapted to winter in a way that requires planning. The autumn food caching is essential. Without it, they would starve. Their ability to remain active through winter in frozen ponds is a testament to remarkable adaptations. Squirrels do not truly hibernate, but enter torpor. Though they seem to disappear in winter, most squirrels do not hibernate. They enter shorter periods of torpor, a light hibernation-like state lasting a day or two during the coldest weather. Most winter days, squirrels are active, foraging on cached nuts and seeds. They can smell food beneath a foot of snow. Like chickadees, squirrels cache food in autumn, hundreds or thousands of locations. They do not remember every cache, but remember general areas, and then use smell to locate specific nuts. Some forgotten caches sprout into trees, making squirrels inadvertent foresters. Squirrels build winter nests called drays, ball-shaped structures in tree branches made of leaves and twigs, insulated and weatherproof. On the coldest days, multiple squirrels may huddle together in a dray, sharing body heat. They remain active through winter, visible foraging in snowy woods, bushy tails, and quick movements a sign of life in the dormant landscape. Moose shed their antlers in winter. Bull moose grow enormous antlers through summer, some spanning 6 feet. These are used in autumn battles for mating rites. After mating season, the antlers become a liability, heavy, cumbersome, and energetically expensive to maintain. So moose shed them. The antlers drop off, usually both within days of each other, sometimes on the same day. The process is not painful. A layer of tissue dissolves, and the antler simply falls away. Shed antlers lie on the forest floor, providing minerals for gnawing rodents. The moose is left with bony pedicles on its skull, which will grow new antlers in spring. Shedding antlers is an energy-saving adaptation for winter. The moose can move more easily through deep snow and dense forest without massive headgear. By spring, new growth begins, and the cycle repeats. Finding a shed moose antler in winter woods is like discovering a treasure, a heavy, impressive remnant of autumn's battles. Winter, survival hypothermia, occurs when body temperature drops dangerously. When the human body loses heat faster than it can produce it, core temperature begins to fall. Normal body temperature is around 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Hypothermia begins when core temperature drops below 95 degrees. Early symptoms include shivering, confusion, and fumbling hands. As temperature drops further, shivering stops, movements become uncoordinated, and mental confusion worsens. Victims may feel warm and remove clothing, a phenomenon called paradoxical undressing. Severe hypothermia leads to unconsciousness and death. Hypothermia can occur even in relatively mild temperatures if conditions are wet and windy. Wind and moisture accelerate heat loss. Prevention involves staying dry, blocking wind, and maintaining high energy through food. Treatment requires gradual rewarming. Hypothermia is winter's greatest danger, silent and insidious, able to kill even experienced outdoors. People who underestimate conditions. Frostbite freezes skin and tissue. When skin temperature drops below freezing, ice crystals form in cells, causing damage. This is frostbite. It most commonly affects extremities, fingers, toes, nose, ears. Early stage, called frostnip, causes numbness and pale skin, but is reversible with warming. True frostbite is more serious. The affected area becomes hard and waxy. Severe frostbite can damage tissue permanently, requiring amputation. Paradoxically, frostbite often does not hurt initially because cold numbs nerves. Pain comes later, during rewarming. Prevention involves keeping extremities warm and dry. Chemical hand warmers, insulated boots, face masks, and layered gloves help. At extreme cold, exposed skin can freeze in minutes. Frostbite is a real danger in winter conditions, requiring vigilance and proper protection. The body prioritizes core temperature over extremities, constricting blood flow to hands and feet to preserve organs, which makes fingers and toes vulnerable. Layering clothing traps insulating air. The key to staying warm is not bulk, but trapped air. Air is an excellent insulator. Clothing works by trapping still air close to the skin. Multiple thin layers trap more air than one thick layer. The base layer wicks moisture away from skin. Wet skin loses heat rapidly. The middle layer provides insulation, fleece, down, or synthetic fill. The outer layer blocks wind and precipitation. Wind strips away the warm air layer. Rain soaks insulation, making it ineffective. This three-layer system is the foundation of cold weather dressing. It is adaptable. Remove a layer if you are too warm. Add one if cold. Overheating is dangerous too. Sweating soaks your clothes, and when you stop moving, wet clothing will chill you rapidly. Managing your microclimate through layering is essential survival skill in winter. Staying dry is crucial in cold conditions. Cold alone is manageable with proper clothing. Cold combined with moisture is deadly. Water conducts heat away from the body far faster than air. Wet clothing loses most of its insulating ability. Even light moisture from sweat can be dangerous if it accumulates. This is why base layers should wick moisture away from skin and why outer layers should be waterproof. Cotton is particularly dangerous in winter because it absorbs moisture and dries slowly. Cotton kills is a saying among outdoor enthusiasts. Wool and synthetic fabrics retain some insulating properties even when damp. Staying dry involves choosing right materials, managing exertion to avoid excessive sweating, and protecting clothing from external moisture like snow and rain. In winter survival situations, staying dry can be the difference between life and death. Shelters conserve life-saving body heat. If caught outdoors in winter without adequate gear, creating shelter becomes priority. A shelter does not need to be warm, just warmer than outside. It must block wind, trap body heat, and keep you dry. Snow itself is an excellent building material. A snow cave or quinsy can provide surprising protection. The inside temperature may be only 32 degrees, but if the outside is -20 and windy, that shelter could save your life. Even simpler shelters help. Piling up branches, digging beneath a fallen tree, creating a pile of leaves to burrow into. The goal is to create an insulated pocket of air around your body. Minimizing this space helps. A smaller shelter warms more easily. In emergencies, people have survived by huddling together, sharing body heat. Shelter, even crude, dramatically improves survival odds in cold conditions. Fire provides warmth, light, and hope. In winter survival, fire is invaluable. It provides heat, dries wet clothing, melts snow for water, and boosts morale. Starting fire in winter conditions is challenging. Wood may be wet or snow-covered. Hands may be numb. Carrying fire-starting materials, waterproof matches, lighter, fire starter is wise for winter travel. Finding dry fuel is key. Look for standing dead wood, which is often drier than fallen wood. Birch bark, even when wet, contains oils that help it burn. Resinous pine needles and twigs make good kindling. Start small and build gradually. A large fire is tempting, but requires large fuel. A smaller fire is easier to maintain and still provides warmth and comfort. The psychological value of fire should not be underestimated. Light and warmth in the cold darkness remind you that survival is possible, that you are not helpless against winter. Food and water maintain energy and warmth. In cold conditions, your body burns more calories, maintaining temperature. Eating regularly is not just about hunger, but about survival. High-energy foods, fats, and carbohydrates are especially valuable. Chocolate, nuts, cheese, and jerky provide dense calories. Hot food and drink raise body temperature and provide psychological comfort. Water is equally important. Cold air is dry. Breathing it causes moisture loss. You may not feel thirsty, but dehydration still occurs. Melting snow for water requires fuel and time, but is necessary. Never eat snow directly. It lowers body temperature. Dehydration impairs judgment and physical performance, both dangerous in winter. Carrying a thermos with hot liquid or having means to melt snow ensures hydration. Food and water are fuel. In winter, that fuel keeps your internal furnace running, generating the heat that keeps you alive. Recognizing danger signs can save lives. Understanding your body's responses to cold can prevent tragedy. Uncontrollable shivering is an early warning of hypothermia. Slurred speech, stumbling, and confusion indicate it is worsening. In others, watch for poor decisions, irritability, and apathy. Mental symptoms appear before the person realizes something is wrong. For frostbite, watch for numbness and skin color changes. White or grayish skin indicates frostbite. If someone shows these signs, act immediately. Get them to shelter, remove wet clothing, provide warm drinks, and wrap them in dry blankets. Do not rub frostbitten areas. Ice crystals can damage tissue further. Do not rewarm frostbite if there is risk of refreezing. In serious cases, evacuate to medical care. Winter dangers are real, but they are also predictable and manageable if you understand the warning signs and act quickly. The turning toward spring days lengthen slowly after the solstice. From the winter solstice onward, each day gains a little sunlight. The increase is slow at first, just a minute or two per day, but it is real and cumulative. By late January, the difference becomes noticeable. The sun sets a bit later, rises a bit earlier. This gradual return of light is winter's promise. Though the coldest weeks often come in January and February, the ground and water still cold from months of winter, the light is returning. This disconnect between shortest days and coldest days happens because Earth's systems have thermal inertia. The land and water take time to cool and to warm, but the increasing daylight is a reliable signal. Spring will come, the Earth will warm. Life will return. For now, winter still holds, but its grip is weakening. Late winter snow can be the heaviest. The heaviest snowfalls often occur not in early winter, but in late winter and early spring. As the angle of sunlight increases and temperatures moderate slightly, the atmosphere can hold more moisture. Storm systems bring wetter, heavier snow. These storms can drop more precipitation than colder early winter storms. The snow is dense and wet, difficult to shovel, heavy on roofs, but it also melts faster. Late winter storms are sometimes the last gasp of the season, final dumps of snow before spring takes hold. They can be dramatic and beautiful, coating bare branches that are just beginning to bud. They remind us that winter does not release easily, that the transition to spring is gradual and sometimes contentious, with winter and spring trading victories week by week. Maple syrup season bridges winter and spring. In late winter, when daytime temperatures rise above freezing but nights remain cold, sugar maples begin to wake. The freeze-thaw cycle creates pressure that makes sap flow. This is the brief season for tapping trees and collecting sap to boil into maple syrup. It is one of the first signs of spring, but occurs while snow still covers the ground. Maple sugaring is tradition in regions with sugar maples, particularly northeastern North America. It requires cold nights and warm days, conditions found only in late winter. The process is labor-intensive, tapping trees, collecting sap, boiling it down. It takes roughly 40 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of syrup, but the result is sweet and quintessentially seasonal. Maple syrup season occupies a liminal space between winter and spring, using winter's cold and spring's warmth to create something that tastes like both. The first robin is a harbinger of spring. In many regions, the arrival of robins signals winter's end. These red-breasted thrushes migrate north as weather warms. Seeing the first robin has become cultural shorthand for spring's approach. In reality, some robins do not migrate, remaining in winter ranges in sheltered areas. But the arrival of large numbers, appearing on lawns and singing in trees, is genuinely a sign of changing seasons. They arrive when the ground is thawing, when earthworms and insects become available again. Birds are among the first to respond to lengthening days, their migration triggered by light more than temperature, so their arrival is a reliable indicator. When robins appear and begin to sing, winter is losing its hold. The world is waking up. Snowdrops bloom through snow. Among the earliest spring flowers are snowdrops, small white blooms that push through snow and frozen ground. They bloom as early as February, sometimes while snow still lies on the ground. Their name is perfectly apt. They look like white drops against snow. Snowdrops contain a biological antifreeze in their cells, allowing them to tolerate freezing. Their bloom is a statement. Life persists and returns even through the harshest conditions. For gardeners and nature watchers, snowdrops are beloved precisely because they brave winter to bloom. They are not waiting for perfect conditions. They are making their own spring, small but determined. Their appearance is a reminder that winter is temporary, that life is patient but insistent, and that renewal is already beginning beneath the snow. Ice begins to crack and shift on lakes. Late winter ice is dangerous. As temperatures warm, ice weakens. It may look solid, but has lost structural integrity. Cracks appear. Dark spots indicate thin areas. The ice begins to make sounds, sharp cracks like gunshots, low groans and creaks as stress builds. Eventually it breaks up. The process can be slow, the ice thinning and fragmenting over weeks, or it can be dramatic, especially on large lakes with wind and waves. The breakup is noisy and active, ice sheets grinding against each other. This is the lake waking up, transitioning from solid to liquid. Ice-out dates are recorded and tracked, sometimes for over a century. The date when a lake is officially ice-free has been creeping earlier as climate warms. But whenever it happens, ice-out is a threshold moment, marking winter's end in the most definitive way. The earth begins to thaw and soften. Frozen ground is hard, unyielding, but as temperatures rise, it thaws from the surface down. The top inches soften first, becoming muddy. Water from melting snow has nowhere to go. The ground below is still frozen. This creates mud season, a brief period when roads and trails become nearly impassable, churned into thick muck. For farmers, the thaw is important. They watch and wait until fields are dry enough to work. Too early, and heavy equipment will compact wet soil, damaging structure. The thaw is gradual and uneven. South-facing slopes thaw first. Shaded areas remain frozen longer. This patchwork of frozen and thawed ground is transitional, neither winter nor spring, but something in between. But unmistakably, it is motion towards spring, the earth loosening, preparing to receive seeds, and support growth once more. The gift of winter. Winter teaches patience and acceptance. You cannot hurry winter or force it to end. It will last as long as it lasts. This is a lesson in acceptance. Plans change because of weather. Travel is delayed. Outdoor work waits. There is wisdom in yielding to this, in recognizing that some things are beyond control. Winter teaches us to slow down, to wait, to accept what we cannot change. This patience extends beyond weather. Winter is a season that models the value of dormancy, of not always being productive and active. It shows that rest is not wasted time but necessary preparation for growth. In a culture that often values constant activity, winter's message of patience and acceptance is countercultural and valuable. The rhythm of seasons connects us to the earth. Living through distinct seasons creates a relationship with natural cycles. You witness the wheel of the year turning. This connection is ancient and deep. Modern life can obscure it. Climate control and electric light make seasons less immediately relevant. But those who pay attention find richness in seasonal change. Each season has its character, its gifts, its challenges. Winter is part of that cycle, as essential as spring or summer. Experiencing winter fully, its cold, its beauty, its stillness, deepens appreciation for the whole cycle. It makes spring's return more joyful. It creates temporal landmarks, memories organized around seasons. This connection to seasonal rhythm is a connection to the Earth itself, to the reality of living on a tilted planet orbiting a star. Winter beauty is understated but profound. Winter lacks the obvious beauty of spring flowers or autumn leaves. Its beauty is subtler, the architecture of bare branches, the geometry of ice crystals, the play of light on snow, the starkness of black and white landscapes. This understated beauty rewards attention. You must look more closely. Notice smaller things. A single red berry against snow, the pattern of deer tracks, the way shadows lengthen across a snowfield. Winter beauty is quiet and minimalist. It does not overwhelm with abundance, but offers careful, spare compositions. Learning to see winter's beauty is learning a different aesthetic, one based on form, light, and simplicity rather than color and abundance. It is no less profound for being quieter. Stillness is a gift in a noisy world. Winter provides stillness in multiple forms. The physical stillness of a snowy landscape, where nothing moves. The acoustic stillness, when snow muffles sound. The social stillness of long evenings indoors. The biological stillness of dormancy and rest. In a world that is increasingly busy, loud, and demanding, stillness is rare and valuable. Winter offers it naturally. You can resist and fight against winter's invitation to slow down, or you can accept it, embrace it, find peace in it. The stillness is not emptiness. It is full of quiet presence, of potential, of rest that renews. In winter's stillness, there is space to think, to feel, to simply be, without the pressure to constantly do. And so, dear listener, our journey through winter's wonders comes to a close. From the science of snowflakes to the silence of forests under snow. From the survival strategies of animals to the cozy warmth of shelter. From the harsh beauty of ice storms to the quiet promise of lengthening days. We have wandered together through a season that is both challenging and beautiful, harsh and gentle, stark and rich. Winter reminds us that life includes cycles of activity and rest, that darkness makes us appreciate light, that cold makes us cherish warmth. It shows us that beauty exists in simplicity, that life persists even in hardship, and that change is the only constant. Every snowflake that falls is unique. Every winter day brings its own character. Every season, though it follows familiar patterns, is new. As you lie here, letting your breath fall into an easy rhythm, imagine yourself beneath a winter sky. Picture the hush of a snowy evening, the crisp air around you, and the soft glow of moonlight on fresh snow. See the bare branches etched against twilight, the first stars appearing in the deepening blue. Feel the warmth of shelter surrounding you, while outside the world rests beneath its white blanket. All of it flowing into stillness, into comfort, into dreams. Winter has carried countless generations before us, teaching patience and resilience, offering beauty and rest. Its story continues, turning with the seasons, and in witnessing it, we become part of that ancient cycle. Just as the earth rests beneath snow, gathering strength for spring's renewal, so too can we rest. Let winter's peace settle over you like falling snow, soft and gentle, covering everything in quiet. If you happen to still be awake, you can go ahead and watch the next video when you are ready. But if your eyes are growing heavy, let the stillness of winter hold you and carry you softly into rest. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and drift into sleep, into quietness, into the vast and gentle silence where winter keeps its watch. Good night.